we have to look inward at our ability to receive pleasure, at our beliefs that we deserve pleasure, that we allow ourselves to feel good. And if we don't have those fundamentals, if we don't have the 3 things that are required for great sex, and if you're familiar with my work, you know the 3 things that are required for great sex. Number 1 is pleasure, presence, connection. Today, I want to talk about a huge block to sex and intimacy. In the past, I have been delicate with my approach and my messaging. People compliment me for how I make light of difficult situations and topics that are filled with shame and trauma, and how I make it approachable. But I've realized in trying to do this, due to some difficult recent life events and personal growth, that I might not be helping people from holding back. So life is too short to live one more day unfulfilled, one more day without your needs being met and having the intimacy that you desire. So buckle up. We are going there today. We like to blame a few things for our lack of sex and intimacy. I hear this crap all the time, and it's ruining our health and relationships. It is why the divorce rate is so high. It's why so many people are unfulfilled. It's why antidepressant prescriptions are rising in women. And the common things that I hear that people blame for our lack of desire, our lack of connection, our lack of intimacy is hormones. There is a 90% chance that it is not your hormones. I treated over 2,000 women in my women's health clinic. We balanced the hormones, the adrenals, the thyroid. We did the things, and 9 times out of 10, it was not their testosterone or estrogen, or we fixed the vaginal dryness, but the desire did not come back. Another myth that we hear, or the excuses that we make, is stress. Well, it will get better after this next quarter when the kids are out of school. He's really just busy right now, or I'm in a busy season right now. And it is true, stress and sex do not mix. This is a chapter in my book, The Pink Canary, but it doesn't need to be this way. We don't need to live our lives in this stressed out, devoid of intimacy way. We can fix it. And the third thing that we blame is we think we need more tips and tricks and techniques, and that is not at all true. We think if I only knew how to give a better blowjob, if I only knew the right communication formula, then things would be miraculously better. But I'm here to tell you the problem is deeper, and that is what I want to talk about today. So you've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. We are not missing a tip, a trick, a technique, or listening to another podcast to have better sex. There is a 90% chance it is not your hormones. Read my book, The Pink Canary, if you want to know more. We have to look inward at our ability to receive pleasure, at our beliefs that we deserve pleasure, that we allow ourselves to feel good. And if we don't have those fundamentals, if we don't have the 3 things that are required for great sex, and if you're familiar with my work, you know the 3 things that are required for great sex. Number 1 is pleasure, presence, connection. Pleasure is how good we can allow ourselves to feel without earning it, just because we are. The second is presence. The goal of amazing sex is to actually be present in your body, be present with high sensation, not in our heads making to-do lists, thinking of the emails that we need to send. And the third is connection. Anyone can fuck, anyone can masturbate with a vagina, anyone can have the checkbox sex or the routine sex, you know what gets your partner off. What we are actually seeking is connection, connecting in an intimate way to truly be seen and known and experienced, sharing all of yourself with somebody. And that, my friends, is hard to do. That is especially hard to do if you have childhood trauma, if you are a superwoman. Now go with me here. Childhood trauma, being raised in a dysfunctional home, is one of the hidden blocks I see directly affecting intimacy and pleasure. Abuse in childhood can make it difficult to connect on both an emotional and sexual level as an adult. And you might not think this applies to you. Listen, if you're a superwoman, I promise it does. So being able to be present, receive pleasure, and truly connect is directly correlated with our ability to feel safe with ourselves, our nervous systems, and to feel safe with others. So unless you're having the trauma bonded sex, and you know that I am no stranger to the toxic relationship, love addiction, abandonment wounds, and the fear-based sex, the trauma-based sex, it has its merits. It has its good parts. But it is like being an alcoholic or a drug addict that we chase that high and then we try and ignore the hangover. So it's really not what we want in the end. My mission: how do we have more pleasure, presence, connection in safe, healthy, long-term relationships? Because this is going to transform health. This is going to transform families and other generations. This will transform the government, the systems that no longer work, no longer serve us. Many of the women that I work with do not identify as childhood trauma survivors or being raised in dysfunctional homes. They had food on the table. Their parents took them to sports. They took family vacations. And the other half of my clients are like me. They've been to therapy. They've had the coaches. They've read the books, and our healing work just continues to deepen. My clients are successful. They have the house, the cars, they take the vacations. And because they are high functioning, they often don't see themselves as trauma survivors or that they're codependent. I remember the first time that somebody called me codependent, I was pissed. I had learned about codependency in school and learned to identify it in clients, and I was high functioning. I had my own career. I made my own money. I out-earned my husband at the time. And I was sexually assaulted by a doctor in my late 20s and repeatedly sexually abused by a family friend. But because I was succeeding and I was not curled up in a ball, non-functional, I didn't think it counted. It wasn't that bad. I spent years convincing myself that it hadn't affected me, which we all know that this is denial. My nervous system had another story. My pussy, my pelvic pain, the cysts that I would get, body had a totally different story. And we all know now that I had to go through the grief process. Quickly, let's go over the characteristics of superwomen. So if you still don't believe me, I'm going to spell it out real clear for you. So superwomen are overfunctioners, people pleasers, doing things for others that they can do themselves. And this is in all area of our lives. We are recovering perfectionists. We struggle to set boundaries. Like we're better at time management, but really when it comes to boundaries with intimacy, not even there yet. We don't even have our worth and our pleasure on the map to know that it is a thing. We have difficulties relaxing and being present. We seek approval. We have an addiction to stress, to doing, to being on. All of these are trauma responses. They make us successful as hell, resourceful, tenacious, capable of really anything that we set our minds to. And it makes us hard to connect on a deep, deep, intimate level. Like I said, you might be having sex and you might be orgasming, but if something is still missing, if that connection is still missing, well, it's probably pleasure, presence, and connection still missing on some levels for you. Keep listening. Hear me out. So you might already know this, or it might be sinking in. You are not a superwoman without some type of trauma, without some dysfunction in your home, some emotional neglect. Usually those I work with that have had emotional neglect find it difficult to trust and let go. They are hypervigilant. They can struggle with orgasm. Some of my clients come knowing that they have had sexual abuse or trauma. Maybe your parent had an addiction or mental health issues. Maybe it was a narcissist, resulted in poor attachment and coping strategies in adulthood for you. So not having secure attachment sets us up to struggle with intimacy. Maybe gaslighting. And I know when I was raised, like gaslighting was just a form of parenting when we grew up. No, you're not thirsty. Drink your spit. Like, I don't know anyone that has not been told that in my generation. And with our kids, like they have water bottles at their disposal all the time. You're not sad and stop crying. So if you're putting this together and this is like really, really heavy for you, DM me. We need to set you up with a trauma-informed therapist. And I would love to hear from you regardless. Any of my listeners. I love your DMs. I love to know what resonates. I love chatting. So please reach out. I will answer personally. How does a trauma response show up in sex? When we're triggered, sometimes even if we consciously feel safe with our partners, our nervous system doesn't. So if you are not having the best sex ever, chances are you're missing that connection part. Nervous systems need to feel safe in order to do this. And they need to feel safe to receive pleasure and allow ourselves to feel good. So past negative experiences can make it hard for us to feel safe, and our nervous system can go into fight, flight, freeze, fawn to protect us. So when we are triggered, even if we're with a partner that we cognitively know is good for us, but our nervous systems and our bodies are not in agreement, it can show up as fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I'm going to take you through a little more detail so you can see how this is affecting you and your intimacy. And then I'm going to talk about how we can start dealing with it. Fight. That's tension. That's stiff muscles. It's emotionally crusty, as we call it in the Pleasure Collective, and irritability. Maybe picking fights to avoid intimacy or making excuses to leave. Your partner comes up to you and it's the immediate like, ugh, get off me. You could be physically pushing your partner's touch away. Sex in people that are in fight is usually devoid of connection, which is one of the 3 ingredients that I know we need for intimacy. And sometimes people use sex as a form of validation or control, and they're usually more selfish lovers. Flight. So these people with this nervous system response, when they're triggered, find it difficult to stay present during sex. They might be doing to-do lists, squirrel brain. They want to run. They want to check the clock. They want to get it over with. Often they feel like it's not the right time, or they make excuses, or things need to be perfect in order to be intimate. Trauma response. Maybe they're shivering or ticklish, or there's other intense physical sensations of discomfort while being touched. Sometimes after orgasm, people with trauma response can have very interesting body responses. There's the fear of abandonment. So they're anxious and they're in their head and they're not present with sensation. Usually these people fake orgasm and they feel emotionally or physically unsafe, or sometimes they use sex as stress relief. Freeze. People in this response tend to have low libido. They're disconnected. They have difficulty expressing desires and needs verbally. Sometimes they don't even see a point in sex. They feel like they're watching things from a bird's eye view or an out-of-body experience, so they're just completely disconnecting. They feel empty, maybe act withdrawn after sex, and they avoid sex as a form of safety. The 4th and final response is fawn. And these people generally have sex out of obligation or guilt. They feel pressured and like you have to be amazing at all sexual acts. They feel rejected when their partner gives them feedback or tells them their likes or dislikes. They're better at giving. They're not really good at receiving. They also feel empty after sex and will fake orgasm or enjoyment. And these people often will have some type of chronic pelvic pain. Now, We know that childhood trauma is affecting our intimacy as adults. Let's talk about what to do about it. Tips for dealing with trauma during sex. Number 1, get your nervous system regulated outside of the bedroom. Gargling, singing, other vagus nerve exercises. Any type of exercise or somatic movement, actually, especially if it is bilateral. So even taking walks, grounding exercises. So 5 senses. This is when, even if we are in the moment, anything we can see, touch, taste, hear, smell, to ground us, bring us into our bodies out of that trauma response. Third, slow down, take breaks, have safe words. All of this is okay. And explaining to your partner that you are triggered or going into a trauma response, and knowing what you can do and what they could do to help support you is very important. Communication. Learn communication techniques to share desires, fears, boundaries in a way that does not put your partner on tilt. I teach this in Pleasure Principles. And probably the most underutilized and not talked about way to deal with trauma responses during sex is self-pleasure. It is a great way to rewire your nervous system to know that pleasure is safe. And we need to practice pleasure in and out of the bedroom. High achievers, I want to share something with you. This is the opportunity you have been waiting for. I am stepping back from private coaching to write my next book. So if you want to work with me in 2025, my 12-week group coaching program is the only way to work with me this year. These coaching groups are small, they're intimate, they're curated of women that have built incredible success, but feel disconnected from their bodies, their pleasure, their relationships. And inside this intimate, high-level container, you're going to learn how to get out of your head and into your body, how to receive without guilt in and out of the bedroom. You're going to learn how to reignite desire and passion in your relationship, whether you're the high or low drive partner. And we're going to rewire your nervous system for ease, connection, and pleasure. The community is the healing. It's going to happen so much faster together, surrounded by women who get it, who are on the similar journey and who are ready to take action and make lasting changes. I promise you will not be the participant in the group who is coaching the other participants. It will not be like that. You will have immense value in the connections that you make if my work speaks to you. If you want to reconnect your relationship, rewire your nervous system, change your relationship to pleasure, do it with me and do it with an amazing community of high-achieving women. Come walk down the pleasure path with us, head to the show notes, and apply. If you are such a high performer and high achiever, but you are in a slump, your insides do not match your outsides, you get your nails done, maybe get Botox, you buy the presents for the end of the school year, you are running a company or a team of people, even though you've shared things with your inner circle, some people cannot compute what you are going through, the amount of unfulfillment. You feel more alone and more crazy because you have so much that you should be grateful for. And when I have gone through this, which is more than once, and I'm going through it currently, no one could comprehend it because I wasn't curled up in a ball on the floor, non-functional. We thought you were so strong. I should have checked on you. I had no idea how much you were suffering. Those are all things that have been said to me in the last 3 weeks. The pain that I was in, the amount of inflammation I could feel in my body, my hair falling out, the acne, the not sleeping, the waking up at night in sheer panic sweats. Like I couldn't think, I couldn't rest. And people would say to me like, wow, you look great. But nobody understood. Somebody even said to me at yoga the other day, like, you're a beast. And I was trying to rest and take pause and hold it together and not cry and bawl on my yoga mat. I have had clients that have fantasized about being in the hospital so people would realize that they needed help or time to rest or see how much pain they were in.